You survived me. Wow. Yeah, and you know what? I'm excited about where JBF is going and what's happening here. I've had a chance to talk with Clint and hear his vision for the future, and boy, it's going to be fun to see what God does here through you and through Clint, and there's new people coming. There's kind of a steady flow of new people showing up, and I just think to myself, wow, this is amazing. Now, sometimes here's what happens, is we go through something in our life and we go like, wow, God did something significant. And then we keep going with life and we just kind of forget about all the things that God has done for us. And so to take a little bit of time and just kind of mentally review what God has done for us, it helps us bring balance and health to our lives, right? And I think to myself, I'm a rich man. I have got so many things in my life that God's blessed me with. And sometimes I'm so busy like pursuing more or trying to keep up with life that I forget to really remind myself how amazing God has treated me. You know, I can really remember the day where I realized I was a rich man. Peggy and I were fairly newly married. I was a seminary student, and I was volunteering as a youth leader, and Peggy was with me. So, you know, it's kind of buy one, get one free. So, buy Paul, get Peggy free kind of thing. And this youth group decided that they wanted to go to Haiti for a summer missions trip. And so Peggy and I raised the funds to go down and be with them and help guide the youth group. And we landed, and I'm telling you, we didn't land in a different country. We landed in a whole different world. We flew off the planet and ended up somewhere else. It was so drastically different. We landed on this airstrip, this cement strip, and there's a shanty on the one end. That was the airline terminal. And we got off the plane because they wheeled up the stairs to the outside of the plane and you walk down the steps. And there were guys with military uniforms and guns all over the place, and it was just weird. And what struck me the most was how poor these people were. They were happy. They were excited if they ate a meal that day. That was a good day. And what I realized was, as I was walking around, people kind of look over their shoulder or, you know, be off in it, and they'd be staring at me. And what they were saying to themselves is, there walks a rich man. Now, you know, Peggy was working as an RN. We were trying to pay off my seminary as we went, so we weren't accruing a debt. And so I always thought I was poor because we were running a really tight budget at that time. But it's relative, isn't it? When you compare yourself to Bill Gates or, you know, someone like that, then I'm poor. But when you compare yourself to these Haitian people, wow. I mean, the fact that I wake up in this country means I'm rich because of all the stuff that we have access to is just amazing. And so today, I'm going to invite you to be rich by reminding yourself what you have. And we're going to go to Philippians chapter 4. We'll start at verse 6, and we're going to read that together. And today we're going to celebrate all that God has done for us and just enjoy His love, His grace, His goodness. And we're going to have a Thanksgiving service before our Thanksgiving meal. Like, I'm having 4 Thanksgiving meals this week. Woo! And I'm thankful for it, too. Yeah. Because sometimes it is hard to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful when I'm in a hurry and I'm driving and someone hurries up and pulls in front of me to drive 5 miles under the speed limit. That's when I struggle to be thankful. Right there. Or when I look in the refrigerator and I'm looking around and I have ketchup and I have Brussels sprouts. That's really hard to be thankful for. Sometimes it's hard to be thankful even when things are good. Like when I'm drinking a Coke and I'm laughing and Coke comes out my nose, like that's a form of torture right there. That's been banned by the Geneva Convention. And so I struggle to be thankful, even though I have everything that I could even imagine. And this is what the Apostle Paul says about it. He says in Philippians chapter 4, starting at verse 4, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." What struck me is he says, rejoice always, not sometimes. And I can rejoice sometimes. But I've read these verses a bunch of times, and I've ignored these verses a bunch of times, where when I should be rejoicing, I'm complaining. And rejoicing is thankfulness on steroids. It isn't just being like, yeah, this is good. It's, yeah, this is good. And the Apostle Paul calls us to rejoice always. He calls us to be rejoicing when I'm in a hurry and someone pulls out in front of me going 5 miles under the speed limit. He calls us to rejoice because I have ketchup to put on my Brussels sprouts, right? He calls us to rejoice always. And is that an attitude that we actually have? Or do we find ourselves complaining about all these little things that we don't have? Because it's so easy to do that. And I'll be honest, I'm working on this in my life because I've noticed the number of times when I'm not thankful and complaining and whining about little things. And so I remind myself that I am rich. And here's how we can become rich every day. We can become rich every day by just doing a little bit of time of review and asking ourselves, what is it that God has given me that I can be thankful for? Because there's just so many things that we can be thankful for. And I'm inviting you to be thankful. And in fact, what I'm going to do here in a little bit is I'm going to get a wireless mic and I'm going to pass it around. And here's what I want you to start thinking about right now. What are you thankful for? And what can you rejoice in? And maybe you even have a testimony of what God has done. Maybe He's done something special. And I'm going to encourage you to share that with us. To just celebrate what God has done and to hold Him up. Because when we start reminding ourselves of all the things that God has done for us, we go like, wow, God's doing amazing things. And before I hand the mic around, I'm going to practice what I preach. And I'm going to just stop and share with you some of the things I'm thankful for. First of all, I have to tell you how thankful I am for Peggy. Because she's sacrificed in so many ways through this process. And she's the one who brings order to my life, and I can prove that. Just go to my apartment and look. I know that I could not do ministry without her as my foundation. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for just watching how God is transforming lives and moving things forward. And and reorganizing this church, and I'm excited to see where God's going, what he's going to do, because I've already told Clint, look, the problem that I'm thinking you need to prepare for is to get ready for all the people who are going to show up, because I think you're going to have to get ready for an influx of people, and you're going to have to be braced and ready to welcome them in. I'm excited about this mission statement to take discouraged people. You're going to get a chance to be the miracle with discouraged people, because you're going to invite them into your fellowship with God that just brings them joy and brings health and balance to their life. And I'm envious because you get to be a part of that and to do that. I'm thankful because there are people who come here at all times of the day and all times of the night to make things happen, and we don't even notice. Everything from the sound, the video, the singers. There's women who are smelling up the place right now with awesome food, making it hard to focus, right? There's people who are taking care of kids. There's all kinds of things that are happening. And it's amazing, because you guys are what make this place special. And I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss being here. I'm not going to miss the drive, but I am going to miss you and watching what God is doing in your life.